हेलो फ्रेंड्स, मूवी कैफे में आपका स्वागत है। एंड जैसे आपको पता है, दिस इज आवर वुमेन्स डे स्पेशल। और हमारे साथ आज पैनल में मौजूद हैं बहुत सारे फिल्म एंथुसियास्ट। एंड आई एम ग्लैड दैट वी हैव गॉट सम वुमेन पैनलिस्ट्स इन आवर podium today. So please welcome, glad to welcome Yashika. Then we have Garima, our main member of Movie Cafe. Then we have, of course, Saugat and Sadiq. So, welcome, guys. So, I'm sure we will have a rocking session today about Women's Day and films that celebrated womanhood, uh, all in the history of cinema. So, as you know, women from ages have been the epitome of strength, resilience, persistence, all those qualities that I think we men don't possess. And in our films, many filmmakers have often tried to project that, and they have shown women as the most powerful characters. And जब औरतों पर आ जाती है तो वो कुछ भी दुनिया बदल सकती है, right? That's what we have seen, and those films resonated with our Indian sensibilities also. So to take this thought and to take and rather to celebrate womanhood and on the occasion of Women's Day, I am first going to Yashika uh, who will tell her favorite films where she was influenced by the women protagonists, and she would also recommend to our audience about those films. So Yashika, we over to you.
Thank you so much. Firstly, Avan, thank you for actually doing this. While you have kind of caught us off guard, but it's a very nice thing कि आज आपने जो बात highlight की है primarily when we talk about women in cinema and मैं दोनों हिंदी और इंग्लिश यूज करूंगी just to ensure
Of
कि हम
course.
wider audience को reach करें.
जी.
Uh, I think we are extremely well etched, protagonists, both the man and the woman, and even more important that it was written by a man. Of course, that man is Gulzar Saab, and
Hmm.
nobody like him when it comes to writing, and also when it comes to depicting a strong woman character so ahead of its time at some point in time. Political influences, social influences, the ego, the male ego, and talking about a career oriented, ambitious woman. So, um, Andhi is definitely going to be my pick. अगर आपको women oriented cinema नहीं पसंद तो भाई उसके गाने जो हैं वो इतने ज्यादा सुंदर हैं, इतने ज्यादा सुंदर
Of course.
हैं, एवरग्रीन गाने। तो और कुछ नहीं तो उन गानों के लिए ही उस फिल्म को दोबारा देखना बनता है। सो दैट्स माय पिक
Great.
नंबर वन।
Great.
The other pick for me will be, and I'll go rather Bollywood or Hindi cinema first before I move into just two picks from Hollywood as well. And I'll talk about timeless films जो generally सबने या तो देखी हों और उनको revisit करना बनता है. The second
Mhm.
film, in my opinion, has to be Lamhe. Um, One of the most wonderful things about that film is again how interestingly etched both the mother and the daughter's
Mhm.
characters are,
Right.
strikingly different from each other, both of
Right.
them. Jahan Devi, the mother, is strong, loving, romantic, even at that time in the film, or rather
Mhm.
an older time in the film.
Right.
There is also a chulbuli, nathat, and quintessential, interesting, uh, younger Sri Devi.
Mhm.
Yet, what I love about Yash Chopra and his depiction of women, and that is just one example. There are so many others that follow.
Mhm.
Ki while there is, all the sari lehrana and the beautiful mountains as a landscape in the background, there
With the
is just
landowner.
so much
Mhm.
depth to character of both the Sri Devis, and also so much. I mean, again, that film is so ahead of its time, depicting the Oedipus complex and, such deep Freudian concepts is at that point in time was really hard. So again, ahead of its curve, beautiful songs. अगर और कुछ नहीं मन तो बस खाली सुंदरता के लिए देख लो. Um, the third and the fourth will be similar characters because I find them really relatable from the modern space. Also because my roots are in Bengal, born and raised in Calcutta, would have to be Piku, Deepika's character in
Fantastic
Piku.
film. No doubt.
Um, what a wonderful film, what a wonderful depiction of vulnerabilities as a daughter, as someone who's finding love, someone who is a caregiver,
Hmm.
and someone who's trying to figure out her career, her life, parental responsibilities, duties, and also figuring out love at the same time. So, um, Piku is right up there for me for sure. Once again, such beautiful backdrop by Shujit Sarkar. The entire journey, the music, extremely fresh music by Anupam Roy,
Right.
and the entire camaraderie between the father and the daughter.
Hmm.
Again, a very
Very
important
realistic, and it was shown.
इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑल्सो जो
Yeah.
एक पिता और एक डॉटर के बीच का जो रिश्ता होता है, स्पेशली अगर
Hmm.
आपने बंगाली बाबाज, सो कॉल्ड बाबाज को और बेटी को देखा है, तो
हाँ,
जरूर
correct.
उससे एक रिलेटेबिलिटी फैक्टर आती है. Another one is not so much out there in the film, but really strong character for me would be Konkuna's character in Wake Up Sid.
Okay.
Um, Once
Ah,
again, extremely relatable. While the
hmm.
film is quintessentially Wake Up Sid,
Right.
and it talks about Sid's journey from what it is to what it becomes.
Ah,
But I think Konkona as a woman plays such an important role in the character arc of the
right.
male protagonist. Um, Not only as a lover or a romantic partner, but also as someone who is a great influence from a career perspective. Once again, very simple, trying to make a mark in a city like Bombay, the city
New
of
girl in the
dreams.
city. She writes a book.
New girl in the city, the
She's
new girl
writes
in the
a
city.
article.
Right.
Ah,
So definitely that. I would also say, I mean, from a modern cinema perspective, Imtiaz Ali's Jab We Met and the
hmm.
quintessential, bubbly, charming character of Geet, which of course led to so many other characters. Once again,
Hmm.
nice, bubbly, charming, powerful. Uh, I'll move on to Hollywood, and I cannot think of a better film, timeless, classic, and I don't think it can ever be remade, replaced by any other film. The Devil Wears Prada. Um,
Hmm.
and for me, that is such a timeless piece about uh, the so-called boss woman, जिसको हम term करते हैं, पर
Hmm.
um, not only does the boss woman come alive with Meryl Streep's character, who is
Hmm.
absolutely marvelous. Where is she not, and when is she not? But also with Anne Hathaway's character, and also Emily Blunt's character, who are
Hmm.
at times vulnerable, charming, yet that camaraderie between the women as managers and reportees,
Hmm.
and then eventually then sort of having a character arc of them their own, and uh, the banter, again, the women
Hmm.
jealousy, the
Right.
women
All those
uh,
qualities were present, like we saw that in the film.
so
Brilliant.
wonderfully done.
Hmm.
A woman in a so-called man's world, I won't even say man's world, just the world, and what kind of power that can ignite. So these are definitely some of my picks for Women's Day. At least, I mean, I'll keep it short. Of course, बहुत सारे और हैं, पर uh,
Yeah.
can't think beyond these very important ones.
Yeah, those are the very great, amazingly articulated list of five films that you gave us. Of course, we had a Hollywood pick also. Very impressed with that. और जहां तक आंधी की बात है, I'll just give one and small टिप्पणी about these films. जहां तक आंधी की बात है, ironically, संजीव कुमार won the best actor for आंधी when we had so many great films in the same year. 1975 was the year of Sholay, Diwar, and all those films. And Andhi was basically about that strong woman character played by Suchitra Sen. She was nominated, but she didn't win. She lost to I think Lakshmi of Julie. Okay, वो अलग बात है. But yeah, that's one of those trivia around Andhi.
वो आई थिंक वो एक समय की बात है, पर यस आई कांट डिनाई, बहुत अच्छे से आपने ये पिन पॉइंट किया है। और जब हम यू नो एक एक when we talk about, say, even Sanjeev Kumar's character, once again, so hard, and probably if Andhi was written in a modern day's world, sometimes I imagine कि वो कैसे लिखा हुआ
कैसा
होता।
लिखना होता,
But
correct, correct.
क्योंकि वो आज भी relevant है, maybe a modern days Andhi would be, different. I don't know. I only hope that Meghna Gulzar writes it, if nobody else.
Yeah. And about Lamhe, I feel that the Sridevi's career, right? Sridevi's entire career, if you see, it's like it can be divided into two ages. One is pre-Lamhe and one is post-Lamhe. So Lamhe was a
Interesting.
defining film in her career, and she was really marvelous in that. So no doubt that it was a woman-centric film. It was like it delved into different concept. It was much ahead of its time, and
Way
not
ahead
something
of its
which
time.
a director, a filmmaker like Yash Chopra had experimented with earlier. So definitely a very path-breaking film, though it did not do any wonders at the box office.
Commercial numbers.
Commercial
Hmm.
numbers तो नहीं आए, but it was a path-breaking, and it is still regarded as a cult film, cult classic.
Yes.
Okay, so we have other panelists also. Thank you, Yashika, for all those five recommendations. We will go to Swagat, who is very curiously watching us.
So I think like always, we always it's very tough to shortlist top three, five, or even 10. That too, like women centric or some movies which had a great influence. So I would not go in any particular order, but I remember like we discussed in the chat. So it was during college days when Kya Kehna was released. So we
Hmm.
just went with friends and all, and we saw that movie, and so all these things grew over time. So suddenly we saw that Preeti Zinta decided that she will keep the baby. So
Ah,
that was a big shocking thing actually in that time. So we had just gone casually, maybe bunking classes and all. But then
okay.
I don't know, somehow it made a very big impact. So we went three times to see the movie in the theater.
Oh,
So liked it so much. So it's a very odd one, I would say. And just my experience of the movies which were like had a great influence over time, may not be
right,
at
right.
that point in time.
क्या
So
कहना was a
second one
sleeper hit.
again, yeah,
It
yes,
was a
yeah,
sleeper hit. Like it just fetched the numbers in the box office that time. I
yeah.
remember
So
it became a hit, big
yeah,
hit.
so it was just a fling. They were dating, and suddenly she has a baby, and she decides that no, no, I will keep it.
Hmm.
So I don't know, maybe. So then the next one would be like Astitwa. So that also
Yeah,
like very very simple, but it had a very moral issue for everybody, like
right,
whether she did the right thing or the wrong thing. It's
right.
very gray area and not very black and
Hmm.
white. So I
Hmm.
remember it's a brilliant performance by Tabu. So similarly, it was Chandni Bar as well, but somehow Astitwa hit hard more
Resonated
than
more with
Chandni
you.
Bar.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So these, and I think I would not say number one, but for obvious reason, we saw that movie very late and it was challenging to get a copy of that Bandit Queen. So,
Okay.
like, we
Okay.
are seeing Indrani Mukherjee being molested by her father and all. But imagine that she got married at the age of 11 and then gang raped and all. So, we just could not imagine that somebody could have experienced this kind of trauma. It was very brutal,
Yeah,
shocking.
it was real life story. Real story it was
Yeah,
like.
and real life story, and she was a member of parliament. I mean, there is no
Hmm.
what to say, what kind of trauma she would have gone through.
Right.
And the most unfortunate part is Shekhar Kapoor making so less movies after Bandit Queen and Mr. India. But anyway, that's a different discussion. But I think these were few movies which had a very lasting impact over
But
years. It
yeah,
grew, and
Sagat,
yeah, and we used to dissect. Yeah, yeah, Aman.
no, no, sorry to interrupt you, but the moment you're telling all this about your films, right? These three films that you told, these movies were never comfortable movies, right? Kya Kehna maybe because it had a commercial angle to it. It had a bit of commercial proposition like song, dance. Saif Ali was there,
Correct.
Chandrachud was there. A lot of family, Bon Homi was being shown in this Kundan Shah film. But what about
Yeah.
Astitwa and Bandit Queen? They were very unsettling films, right? The mahol, that the environment was not comfortable. It was, and Bandit Kun was very unsettling. You
Yeah,
remember,
correct,
it was
correct.
very
That's what
disturbing to
actually
see
like.
that. So do
Yeah.
you actually
So that's what, like, we at that
remember
age,
that?
we used to see movie from many perspectives, but suddenly we see something and it just hits us so hard,
Yeah,
and
that is
we
really hard.
keep on
Yeah.
dissecting the scenes, the
Hmm.
dialogues and everything over years, and we will say
Hmm.
that, imagine in that movie this thing had happened, so I don't
Hmm.
know how this could have happened, and now we are talking in the, like, OTTs and all, that somebody got molested by
Yeah,
her
now it has
father, and we are
become
having so
more
much
and more,
discussion.
yeah,
Yeah, but that was a
common.
real story. So, like,
Right?
it's just like Anurag Kashyap said. So, if we can show the realistic ones,
Hmm.
it's not a movie. Like, we have to show the realistic ones in a movie. Otherwise, what is the point in showing? So, like, the dark side is the real, real side of many people. So,
Right.
yeah, these movies hit quite hard. So, it would be Astitwa, Chandni Bar, Kya Kehna, Bandit Queen
Okay, these are
for
all
me.
like, yeah, that was good choices list of films that you recommended, Swagat, because it had a take on morality, and it also had a take of like how women actually being brutalized. They came back, they retorted with like came back and avenged their humiliation and all those things. So very different perspective. Thanks for that, Swagat. Over to Sadiq.
Yeah. So for me, the first film that I would choose would be Filhal. Filhal starring Sushmita and Tabu.
Tabu.
Because this was one of the probably one of the rare or probably one of the earliest movies to the show the concept of surrogacy. Because this is
Right.
very it was at that time was very rare and
Hmm.
quite a taboo as in not taboo but taboo because taboo was also there in the film. So it was quite rare and it was quite boldly shown in that and
Yeah.
kudos to Sushmita Sen because she at the very you can say early start of her career she chose very unconventional and non-glamorous movies. This
Right.
and after that she did I think Samay and a few
Tamam.
other
Right. Right.
movies that really showed her class that showed her acting prowess. So I was really impressed by Filhal. And then another, really good, you can say, a very powerful, film that showed the power of women and how women can, when given the opportunity, can shine was Chak De India. Chak De
Hmm.
India for me is probably one of the finest films that actually shows, women empowerment in probably the most motivational way. So
Yeah.
Chak De India was really good for me, and I'm glad that SRK did that film because, SRK, because we know that the star power that he has, that the impact that he has, and at that time he was at the peak of his powers.
Hmm. Hmm.
Also doing, I think, did Shanti Om at that same month, if I'm not wrong, August or September. And Om
Right.
Shanti Om was a blockbuster, and so was Chak De India. And he was doing some really, really good films, and he was at his peak. So it was really good to see him doing that film. Then another film, you can say, starring SRK again, that was Anjam. And Anjam and Madhuri was really good. I mean, although she was on a, rampage and taking a revenge, but the manner in which she was taking the revenge and how, single-handedly she was, trying to avenge what SRK did to her was, for
Hmm.
me, was really good. So she was, really focused and was taking the revenge in probably the most, you can say, the brutal, but the manner in which she did that was quite, you can say,
Unconventional.
satisfying.
Right.
Unconventional, yes. And
Hmm.
kudos to Madhuri that even she was doing quite roles that were not at all glamorous.
Hmm.
And
Correct.
again, coming to another film that stars Madhuri again, that's Mrityudand. Yeah, because Mrityudand for me is probably the finest films on women empowerment. Because even at that time in 90s, I was really shocked and surprised that how come Prakash Jha was able to depict such themes on cinema with such ease, and that was acting masterclass, starring Madhuri, starring Shabana Azmi, starring Mohan Joshi, and even Ayub Khan was good.
Right.
So sorry. So it was a really, really good film. So yeah, these are the four movies that I have selected for myself that focus on women empowerment. So yeah,
Oh,
that's my pick.
yeah. Yeah. All the films, 90s and 2000s. Yeah. Pretty old as if
Yeah,
they have not dated, I would say, but yeah,
yeah,
for you, like I was thinking that you would come up with more, coming of age films, but yes, you had
yeah.
list of
I,
peculiar
I,
choices.
I want to add one more film which I really forgot that is Mimi starring Kriti Sanon.
Uh-huh.
which was
For which she won
really
national
really
award
good.
also. It was
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So another film which correlates with the concept of surrogacy and IVF. So
right.
this is, I think, based on the concept of IVF and surrogacy and whatnot. So yeah, another good film that is really good. So yeah, these are my five films that focus on women empowerment.
Thank you, Sadiq, for recommending these films to our audience. And finally, we have Garima.
Everybody has already given some really good recommendation. वुमेन सेंट्रिक मूवीज तो बहुत है,
Hmm.
बट द थिंग इज दैट एक तो मुझे ये वर्ड पसंद नहीं आता वुमेन सेंट्रिक मूवीज, बिकॉज एवरी अदर मूवी जो जिसमें हीरो एक मेल है उसके बारे में हम नहीं बोल रहे कि मेल सेंट्रिक मूवी, बट वी हैव टू लिटरली से दैट इट्स अ
Hmm.
वुमेन सेंट्रिक मूवी, सो आई डोंट लाइक इट.
Hmm.
बट एनीवेज हमारे हमारे यहाँ मुझे लगता है कि सिर्फ नॉट इन बॉलीवुड, इन इवन इन हॉलीवुड विमेन जितना अच्छा काम करती है इतना अच्छा उनको ड्यू क्रेडिट कभी मिला ही नहीं है. एंड दैट इज सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल इज श्रीदेवी, क्योंकि उससे पहले इतनी सारी अमेजिंग एक्ट्रेस आई थी, बट श्रीदेवी इज द वन जिसको हम कहते हैं कि इंडिया फर्स्ट फीमेल सुपरस्टार, विच इज वेरी
Hmm.
सैड, बिकॉज उससे पहले वी हैड सम रियली ग्रेट एक्ट्रेसेस जिसके बारे में इतनी बात ही नहीं होती है.
Right.
बट आज का हमारा थोड़ा लाइट टॉपिक है, तो आई टॉक अबाउट जो मूवीज, वैसे तो बहुत सारी, एंड यशी ने बहुत ही अच्छे कुछ मूवीज सजेस्ट किए हैं, बट एक मूवी आई थी नागेश कुकनूर की, डोर, जिसमें
Hmm.
गुल पनाग एंड आयशा चाकिया थे. एंड दैट इज अभी रिसेंटली आई वाज टॉकिंग टू समवन और उससे मुझे याद दिलाया कि डोर एक मूवी थी जो कि बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल मूवी थी. इट वाज मतलब दो औरतों की स्टोरी थी, एक बिल्कुल ही गांव की, राजस्थान की, एक ट्रैवल करके आ रही है टू अपने हस्बैंड को बचाने के लिए,
बचाने
एंड
के
दैट इज
लिए।
बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुली उसको डायरेक्ट किया था. एंड दैट इज वन ऑफ माय वेरी फेवरेट मूवी, एंड आई डेफिनेटली रिकमेंड जिसने अभी तक नहीं देखी है तो. इसके अलावा चांदनी बार जिसमें तब्बू थी,
Okay.
वो भी मुझे मतलब आई रियली लाइक दैट मूवी. काफी अच्छा तब्बू का जो उसमें दिखाया है, इट्स ब्यूटीफुल. एंड ऑफ कोर्स आई लाइक मिमी गंगूबाई जो अभी आई है. गंगूबाई मुझे इतनी पर्सनली पसंद नहीं है, बट अगेन लोगों को काफी पसंद आई थी वो मूवी. एंड इसके अलावा मुझे उर्मिला की एक मूवी थी, एक हसीना थी, जो काफी उर्मिला का जो पूरा एक पूरा ट्रांजिशन दिखाया उनके कैरेक्टर का, कि
Hmm.
स्टार्टिंग में जिस तरह से हाउ मच शी वाज इन लव विद
Seth's character.
स्टेफ्स कैरेक्टर, एंड देन लेटर ऑन किस तरह से वो अपना पूरा रिवेंज प्लान करती हैं. एंड तो वो दैट इज उनका काफी मतलब लेटर ऑन जो उनका कैरेक्टर बनकर आता है, बहुत ही बैड एस कैरेक्टर है, तो वो मुझे बहुत पसंद है. इसके अलावा तो मुझे और तो कोई मूवी, मतलब आई थिंक एवरीबडी हैज ऑलरेडी कवर्ड अ लॉट. नीरजा बहुत अच्छी मूवी थी. एंड वुमेन सेंट्रिक तो मूवी बहुत सारी हैं, बट एक मैं एक मतलब मुझे लगता है कि हमें थोड़ी सीरीज भी रिकमेंड कर देनी चाहिए. तो मैं एक सीरीज मैंने अभी थोड़े दिनों पहले देखी, द बोल्ड टाइम. बहुत ही अच्छी एक सीरीज है जो डेफिनेटली इट्स लिटिल लाइट हार्टेड, एंड इट्स अबाउट फैशन मैगजीन और उसके बारे में बात हो रही है. तो डेफिनेटली आई रिकमेंड अगर जिन्होंने वो नहीं देखी है. और अदरवाइज एक और सीरीज है एमिली इन पेरिस, जो कि इट्स ऑल्सो आई आई वुड से वुमेन सेंट्रिक है. इट्स नॉट इसमें कोई बहुत ही आपको कोई मैसेज नहीं दिया जा रहा है कि
हाँ.
ये करो, या कोई बहुत ही ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. इट्स ऑल रिलेटेड टू फैशन, बट दैट इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द सीरीज विच इज वेरी नाइस, एंड आई डेफिनेटली रिकमेंड.
Hmm.
सो बस मेरे पास इतना ही है बोलने के लिए. इसके अलावा बहुत सारी मूवीज है, बट मुझे अभी कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा. आई एम लिटिल ब्लैंक. तो ओवर टू यू.
But yeah, thank you, Garima. Thanks for this wide range of choices. We have 10 minutes left with us. But yes, आपने ओटीटी के जगत में भी थोड़ा बहुत हमें ज्ञान दिया, उसके लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. तो जब बात ओटीटी की हो रही है तो मैं हमारे दर्शकों को महारानी का लेटेस्ट सीजन जो लॉन्च हुआ है आज, सोनी लिव पे स्ट्रीम हो रहा है. वी कैन आई रिकमेंड यू दैट. वो बहुत अच्छा है एंड इट्स लाइक टेकिंग द स्टोरी फॉरवर्ड where Maharani, as in Huma Akur, she plays Rani Bharti, and she comes back to take revenge of her husband, who was of the death of her husband. तो पॉलिटिक्स के बैकग्राउंड, बिहार के पॉलिटिक्स के बैकग्राउंड के बैकड्रॉप में है ये महारानी वेब सीरीज. तो जरूर देखिए, बिकॉज द परफॉर्मेंसेस आर टू गुड। एंड जहां तक वुमेन सेंट्रिक फिल्म्स, वुमेन प्रोटैगनिस्ट की बात हो रही है, तो आई थिंक देयर आर फ्यू एक्ट्रेसेस हु एक्चुअली हैव टेकन दिस पार्ट, द बैटन too seriously, and they have been only involved in women centric films. Okay, like for example, Kangna Ranaut. Of late, if you see, she is only taking up films where she plays the main character. Okay, जैसे उन्होंने, हालांकि वो फिल्म चले ना चले, the last film that released was Tejas, and before that we had Dhakad. We had film, of course, he did very well in Tanu Waits Manu, and लेकिन मणिकर्णिका, which was based on रानी लक्ष्मीबाई, वो फिल्म चली या चली नहीं पता नहीं, बट देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ टॉक, डिस्कशंस अबाउट दैट फिल्म. सो एक तो तापसी पन्नू है, दूसरी है तापसी पन्नू हु हैज बीन टेकिंग doing films which have been very much women centric, right, where she has got the most flabby part in the film, an important part. जो भी आप ऑफ लेट जो भी उनका फिल्म ले लो, थप्पड़ हो या फॉर दैट मैटर, अभी हाल ही में उनका और एक फिल्म आया था तापसी पन्नू का, आई एम फॉरगेटिंग द नेम ऑफ द फिल्म, लेकिन हाँ, दोबारा दोबारा
शाबाश शाबाश मिठू में भी
तबास
her
मीठू,
character.
रश्मि रश्मि रॉकेट, राइट राइट, हाँ, दोबारा, व्हिच वाज मेड बाय अनुराग कश्यप. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि इज दिस अ चेंज इन द फिल्म इंडस्ट्री? मतलब देयर आर वुमेन सेंट्रिक फिल्म्स बीइंग मेड, people are actually taking, like, there is a paradigm shift, right? There is a shift from the masala films to this type of films where woman is playing the main character and taking the film on her shoulders.
Yes, there is definitely a shift. और इस आई थिंक इस शिफ्ट के बारे में दो ही चीजें कहना चाहूंगी. एक तो a large part of it functions like the society functions. तो जिस तरह से हम बोलते हैं कि society influences cinema and vice versa. So
Mm-hmm.
while we are seeing progress in terms of women and equal opportunities between uh, the genders, उसी तरह से a lot more films are being written in that regard and being carried by women, completely shouldered by women. We have, I think, Crew is another commercial film
Which is
example which
coming
is
this
upcoming,
month
which,
end.
yeah. So, a lot many of these films, jahan par quintessentially it is about the women and the women only. And of course, we have a long way to go, just like Priyanka Chopra said that, it took her 30 years or whatever, 15 years to actually 60 films plus करने के बाद there was pay parity between her and her co-actor in
That
the
is another
Hollywood films
issue
that she
altogether.
did.
Pay parity.
That's another issue altogether, but the point being, society versus cinema, and the influences of one into another flowing into another is, and so also with the professional ecosystem. So I would also say a lot of these videos jahan par you have someone like Radhika from the Edelweiss team. You have so many others in on Shark Tank. You see those the women. So all of this is also kind of a part of the content that we consume that ultimately then influences society and the social ecosystem that embraces equal opportunity and therefore will sort of percolate into cinema, in my opinion. So
Right, right.
yeah, 200%.
थैंक यू. गरिमा, आपके क्या राय है?
थैंक यू. पहले तो मैं बोलना चाहूंगी अवान, हमने इतनी बात की एंड वी डिडंट डिस्कस अबाउट क्वीन, जो कि
We discussed about
क्वीन इज
Kangna.
द मूवी. या
And Kangna
जो
is
कि
regarded as the queen of Indian cinema.
तो अभी आपने जब कंगना की बात की तो मुझे याद है कि क्वीन एक बहुत ही अच्छी मूवी थी
It was a
एंड
very good film.
बहुत ही डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट था किस तरह से मतलब कंगना का कैरेक्टर, और इट वाज अ ब्यूटीफुल आई आई थिंक. उसके बाद ही जब हम बात करते हैं कंगना रनावत एज एन एक्ट्रेस, उसके बाद ही उसके बारे में ज्यादा बातें होने लगी हैं. आजकल की बात नहीं है, पहले भी काफी ऐसा था कि बहुत सारी एक्ट्रेसेस हैं जिन्होंने, जैसे शबाना आजमी की हम बात
वो तो
करें
आर्ट लेवल, हाँ एग्जैक्टली, वो आर्ट
तो
लेवल से
अब
आर्टिस्ट आर्ट सिनेमा, राइट, पैरेलल सिनेमा
क्योंकि
जिसको
उस
हम बोलते
टाइम पे
हैं,
आर्ट सिनेमा
बहुत कम
और
था।
कमर्शियल को अलग रखा जाता था।
एग्जैक्टली।
इतना साथ साथ नहीं चलता था। अगर मूवी थोड़ी सीरियस है, उसमें कुछ मैसेज दे रहे हैं, तो उसको हम आर्ट सिनेमा बोल देते थे
नाउ द
बैक
लाइन
इन
इज प्रॉब्ली
70।
गेटिंग मोर ब्लर्ड। हम्म।
या अभी अभी ना थोड़ा इस तरह से मूवीज बनाते हैं कि इट्स नॉट, आई वुड से कि ऐसा लगता नहीं है कि इट्स आर्ट मूवी या कमर्शियल मूवी, इट्स अ मिक्स।
हम्म।
तो और जैसे कि यशी ने बोला कि जिस तरह से नॉर्मल लाइफ में चेंजेस हमें देखने को मिलते हैं अभी आजकल हर जगह पे, लाइक कॉर्पोरेट में या कहीं पे भी वी आर सेलिब्रेटिंग वुमेन्स डे, और जिस तरह से बहुत ज्यादा लाइमलाइट दी जाती है
हम्म।
वुमेन को, उसी तरह मूवीज में भी ये एक नया कॉन्सेप्ट स्टार्ट हो गया है कि वुमेन सेंट्रिक मूवी है, या
हम्म।
इसमें फीमेल को मेन कैरेक्टर दे। तो इट्स, बट आई डोंट थिंक कि ये कुछ नया है, पहले भी होता था। काफी वुमेन सेंट्रिक मूवीज रही हैं बैक इन 70s 80s, बस उसको आर्ट मूवी का नाम दे दिया जाता था। नाउ
हम्म।
इट्स कमर्शियल सिनेमा।
Hmm. Okay, that's a new way of thinking about or giving a perspective to this particular thought. So, yeah. So, Swagat, any final words?
Yeah,
So,
I think I would partly agree with Garima because we had Zinat Aman doing Insaf Ke Tarazu. We have
right.
Sabana Azmi doing Fire. We
Right.
had Nandita Das doing Bawandar, or there is a beautiful movie called Ek Alag Mausam. Everybody should watch that movie where she's an
ये
AIDS
गलत
patient.
मौसम.
Ek Alag Mausam.
Okay, was it with Hugh
So
Grant?
that's what actually. No, 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 no. It was, I think, with Anupam Kher, and we had
Okay, वो
so, yeah, yeah.
okay.
So that's what actually I think the commercial actresses were maybe catering to the audience and just playing safe,
Hmm.
and we did not have OTTs and other thing. But
Hmm.
now, as you see, like even Aishwarya Rai did Provoked for that
Hmm.
matter. So I
Hmm.
think we have almost all the top heroines who are brave enough to cater to the audience and do every kind of movies, because we
Hmm.
have market for everything. Society has changed, but we always had these kind of movies made, and we were asked not to watch Insaf Ka Tarazu for
Hmm.
obvious
Hmm.
reason. But
Right.
now we see how brave that movie was at that time.
That time, yeah,
Like
40
it
years
was a
back.
landmark movie actually. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we are told that don't see Raj Babbar movies. So, but yeah, I think it was a brilliant movie. So, like now, if somebody makes it, it would be very normal and average. But that time, it
Ah,
was way ahead of time. So, I
right.
think yeah,
Times are changing, and I think it's a good change, welcome change, that we are seeing more shades of women characters and, of course, stronger characters and powerful characters. So, with this, I think we don't have much time left, and am really thankful to you guys for taking your time out and joining us for this wonderful discussion on women in Indian cinema, or celebrating the films which were with powerful women characters. So thank you all. Thanks for joining Movie Cafe. Have a great week ahead. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.